When a man has weak control over his urges, his mind becomes a battlefield he keeps losing without even realizing it. The seed carries the blueprint of creation, biologically, psychologically, and energetically, yet most men treat it as something casual to throw away. When that energy leaks, the mind becomes restless, scattered, and easy to manipulate. Thoughts lose their strength, focus thins out, and self-respect weakens. This is the quiet destruction caused by a lack of control. Your own biology starts overpowering your intention. Retention flips that dynamic. When the seed is preserved, the mind stops fighting a losing war. Awareness becomes sharper, emotional stability increases, and the brain begins operating from strength, not impulse. That shift alone separates a man who controls himself from a man who is controlled by his urges. Build. Retention activates a powerful internal faculty, the ability to command your own energy instead of bleeding it into momentary cravings. When the seed stays within you, it doesn't sit still, it rises. It fuels clarity, confidence, and decisiveness. The mind begins working with the body instead of against it. Section 1. Energy allocation. When you retain, the body stops pouring its best resources into constant production and release. Zinc, amino acids, trace minerals, neurotransmitters, and metabolic fuel are no longer burned at high speed to replace what you lose. That energy begins moving inward instead of outward. Your system finally has enough bandwidth to repair muscle fibers, restore hormonal balance, and sharpen cognitive function. This shift creates tension at first. The body is conditioned to push energy outward, while the mind craves clarity and strength. The moment you choose conservation, you interrupt an old pattern and force your biology to redistribute its power back into you. That redistribution is the opening move of the internal battle. As retention continues, the body recognizes that energy is no longer being wasted on constant reproduction, so it begins allocating its resources strategically. Metabolism steadies. Sleep quality improves because your nervous system isn't overloaded. Focus sharpens because your brain has more raw materials for neurotransmitter production. You start feeling a pressure inside you. Not nervousness, but stored vitality looking for direction. This is where the psychological tug of war intensifies. The mind wants to channel this rising energy into discipline, growth, and purpose, while the body's old habit patterns push for release. In this struggle, strength is forged. Every day you hold your line, more of that energy becomes available for higher functions. Over time, the battle transforms into cooperation. The body adapts to this new rhythm and starts prioritizing your performance as a whole organism. Retained energy fuels long-term stamina, emotional resilience, and sharper decision-making. Your presence grows heavier, your thoughts clearer, and your physical strength more reliable. The urge to release weakens, because your biology has learned that conservation benefits survival and success. Retention becomes less of a fight and more of an upgrade, a realignment where the body supports the mind instead of fighting it. Once this balance settles in, the power you used to lose becomes the power you now walk with. Section 2. Reward regulation. Constant release trains the brain to expect gratification instantly. The reward system becomes hypersensitive, craving the next spike before the last one has even faded. Build. This throws your dopamine rhythm into chaos and makes it harder to stay focused on anything that doesn't provide immediate pleasure. Build. Retention interrupts this cycle. The brain is forced to operate without its usual quick escape, and in that gap, your nervous system begins recalibrating. Cravings lose their grip. The reward system starts working at a steady pace instead of a frantic one. This shift marks a crucial moment in the internal battle, because your mind is no longer being yanked around by impulse. It finally gains room to breathe, assess, and choose. As dopamine stabilizes, something powerful happens. The tasks that once felt boring start feeling meaningful again, because your brain isn't competing against artificial highs. Concentration deepens because there isn't a constant pull toward distraction. This is where discipline starts becoming natural rather than forced. The reduced noise inside your mind allows you to hold your attention on one thing long enough for progress to compound. For the first time in a long time, you aren't chasing a reward, you're creating one. The battlefield shifts from suppressing urges to guiding your energy with intention. Build. That's when you begin to feel control returning to your hands. With cravings weakened, your thinking becomes smoother and more intentional. Instead of battling impulses every hour, you begin operating from a calmer baseline. This stability helps you separate desire from decision. You can feel an urge without obeying it. You can sense temptation without collapsing into it. This is the psychological moment where the war tilts in your favor. The mind that once bent under quick release habits now stands firm. Retention doesn't just regulate dopamine. It rewrites how you interact with your own impulses. That shift turns scattered energy into a precise, powerful force you command. Section 3: Drive Activation. When the body stops losing vital energy, something powerful begins building inside you. The stored nutrients and hormonal stability create a steady rise in raw vitality. You feel a stronger pulse in your thoughts, a sharper edge in your movements, and a heavier presence in your ambition. Motivation stops feeling like something you must force. It comes naturally because your system finally has enough internal fuel to support decisive action. This is not hype. It's biology working in your favor. The same force that once drained you now circulates through your nerves, muscles, and mind. Action becomes easier because energy is no longer leaking away. Hesitation weakens because your system is primed to move rather than collapse. As vitality rises, your psychological structure changes. The parts of your mind responsible for drive and aggression activate more easily, giving your personality a stronger backbone. You begin waking up with a sense of direction instead of drifting through the day. Tasks you used to postpone suddenly feel simple. Challenges feel more like invitations than threats. This inner push is the result of having a full reservoir of life force instead of an empty one. The ancient warrior cultures understood this. They believed that holding energy creates masculine fire, while losing it repeatedly makes the spirit dull. Modern science reflects the same truth through hormonal balance, improved neurotransmission, and increased metabolic efficiency. You feel more alive because your body is finally supporting your intentions instead of undermining them. Eventually, this shift marks the end of the inner battle. You're no longer wrestling with urges or dragging yourself through each decision. Your biology and psychology begin working as a unified system. The body creates strength, the mind channels it, and the actions that follow feel natural rather than forced. This is the moment retention reveals its real power. You stop fighting your instincts and start using them. Drive flows without resistance. Ambition rises without pressure. Momentum becomes automatic. Your energy is no longer your enemy. It becomes your strongest ally, pushing you forward with a force that feels unstoppable.